There is a sentence you were probably taught as a child. They're family, you have to forgive them. And maybe you believed it, maybe you still do. Maybe you've spent years bending yourself into uncomfortable shapes, swallowing pain, manufacturing smiles, shrinking your needs, because you thought that's what love required. But here's what the ancient Stoics knew. Here's what Zen masters spent entire lifetimes trying to show us. Tolerating mistreatment is not love. It is self-abandonment dressed in loyalty's clothing. Today we're going to talk about 8 behaviors. Behaviors that will drain you, diminish you, and destroy your peace, that you should never normalize. Not from a stranger, not from a friend, and yes, not even from family. Stay with this, because by the end, you won't just feel validated, you'll feel free. Before we begin, let's get something clear. This video is not about hating your family. It's not about cutting everyone off or burning every bridge you've ever crossed. Zen philosophy teaches us that compassion, true compassion, must begin with the self. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, were clear. You cannot pour from an empty vessel, and you cannot maintain genuine love for others whilst allowing them to slowly hollow you out. What we are talking about today is discernment, the ancient, sacred ability to see clearly, without anger, without bitterness, and say, "This I will not carry." Let's begin. Behavior number 1, chronic emotional manipulation. You know this feeling. It lives in your chest, right here. This tight, confused sensation after a conversation that somehow, always, ends with you apologizing, even when you did nothing wrong. Emotional manipulation is subtle. It doesn't arrive wearing a villain's mask. It comes wrapped in tears, in sighs, in carefully crafted sentences like, "After everything I've done for you," or "I guess I'm just a burden," or the classic, "I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed." The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that we must be vigilant about what enters our inner citadel, the fortress of our rational mind and sense of self. Manipulators, whether consciously or not, are constantly trying to climb those walls. Zen wisdom goes even deeper. There's a teaching that says, do not let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. Manipulation is noise. It is specifically designed to make you doubt your own perception of reality. This is called gaslighting in modern psychology, and it is one of the most corrosive forces a human being can experience, precisely because it attacks the very instrument you use to navigate life, your own judgment. Here is what you must remember. Love does not manipulate. Love does not create confusion as a strategy. If a person, any person, consistently leaves you feeling guilty, confused, or small, that is not a love worth protecting at the expense of your sanity. You can love someone, and you can still refuse to be manipulated by them. These two things can exist at the same time. Behavior number 2, disrespect disguised as honesty. I'm just being real with you. You're too sensitive. I tell it like it is. We live in a culture that has confused cruelty with courage, that has mistaken bluntness for wisdom. And many toxic people wear the mask of the honest one in a family, as though their willingness to wound gives them some kind of moral authority. The Stoics had a powerful principle about speech. It should be useful, true, and kind. Not useful alone, not true alone, all three. Seneca wrote that we should say nothing that we would not wish everyone to hear, because words carry weight. Words shape the reality of the person receiving them. Zen teachings take this further. The concept of right speech from Buddhist wisdom, the tradition that heavily influenced Zen, holds that speech should be timely, gentle, beneficial, and spoken with loving intent, not weaponized under the shield of honesty. If someone in your family consistently diminishes your dreams, mocks your choices, belittles your appearance, or tears down your confidence, and then defends it with "I'm just being honest," understand what is actually happening. They are not being honest. They are being harmful, and they have simply found the socially acceptable packaging for it. You are under no obligation to sit at a table where your worth is regularly debated. No spiritual tradition worth its salt has ever asked that of you.
Behavior number 3, using your vulnerabilities against you. This one is perhaps the deepest betrayal. At some point, you trusted someone. You opened up about your fears, your insecurities, your failures, your struggles. You handed them something fragile. You said, without words, "I trust you with this." And then one day, in an argument, in front of others, In a moment of their own anger, they used it. They reached into that sacred space and pulled out your vulnerability like a weapon. The damage this does isn't just emotional, it rewires the way you connect with the world. It teaches your nervous system that openness equals danger, that love equals exposure, that the people closest to you are also the most dangerous. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy, but more than revenge, what matters here is the lesson. Do not give people repeated access to your inner world if they have shown you through their actions that they cannot be trusted with it." Zen has a teaching about fire. It says, "Once burned, the wise do not call the flame unkind. They simply stop reaching into it." This is not coldness. This is wisdom. You can still love from a distance. You can still hold warmth for someone without placing your most tender parts within their reach. Protect what is sacred in you. Not everyone has earned access to it. Behavior number 4, conditional love with invisible rules. Here is a subtle poison that many people carry for decades without ever naming it: conditional love. Love that says, "I accept you as long as you succeed, as long as you agree with me, as long as you don't embarrass me, as long as you become who I need you to be." And the cruelest part of conditional love is that the conditions are never fully stated. You're left playing a game whose rules keep changing, perpetually trying to earn something that should have been freely given. The Stoics were clear about this in their teachings on virtue. True goodness, true love cannot be contingent on outcome. Epictetus said that we harm ourselves most when we make our peace dependent on things outside our control. But conditional love goes further. It makes someone else's peace dependent on you performing perfectly forever. In Zen, there is a concept, mushin, mind without fixed condition, a state of pure presence unattached to rigid expectations. The Zen teacher doesn't love the student only when they grasp a lesson quickly. The teaching is the love. Ask yourself honestly, is there someone in your family whose love you feel you are always earning, always performing for, always adjusting yourself to maintain? That is not a foundation, that is a treadmill. And you are allowed, you are more than allowed, to step off of it. Behavior number 5, chronic boundary violations. You set a boundary, they crossed it. You explained the boundary, they dismissed it. You re-established the boundary, they labeled you dramatic, difficult, cold, or ungrateful. This cycle, this exhausting, demoralizing cycle, is one of the clearest signs of a toxic dynamic. Here's something the world needs to hear more often. A boundary is not a punishment. A boundary is not an act of war. A boundary is simply a statement of what you need in order to remain whole. The Stoic framework teaches us to distinguish between what is up to us and what is not. How people treat you is fundamentally a reflection of who they are. But whether you accept that treatment, that is entirely up to you. That lives fully within your power. Zen goes even further into this with the concept of the middle way, the path of balance, neither extreme permissiveness nor extreme rigidity. Healthy boundaries are the middle way in relationships. They don't require walls, they don't require warfare, they simply require clarity and the courage to hold that clarity even when someone you love is testing it. When someone in your family repeatedly violates your boundaries, and especially when they respond to the boundary itself with contempt, they are telling you something important. They are telling you that their comfort matters more to them than your well-being. That is information, painful information, but information nonetheless. Use it wisely. Behavior number 6, guilt tripping as a control mechanism. Guilt is a natural, healthy human emotion when it's proportional, when it's connected to an actual wrong you've committed, when it calls you toward growth. But weaponized guilt is something else entirely. After everything this family has sacrificed for you, I don't have much time left, you know. You used to be so close to me, I don't know what I did to deserve this. These sentences are not coming from love, they are coming from fear. The fear of losing control, the fear of being left behind, the fear of a relationship evolving or ending. And they work by targeting your compassion.
By taking the best parts of you, your empathy, your loyalty, your desire to care for the people you love, and turning those qualities into chains. Seneca wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." But the inverse is equally wise. Recognize those who, consciously or not, are invested in keeping you small, because you growing and healing and evolving, threatens the version of you they need in order to feel in control. In Zen, the student must eventually leave the teacher, not out of disrespect, but out of necessity. The boat carries you across the water, but you do not carry the boat once you've reached the shore. Guilt that keeps you permanently in debt to another person's needs is not wisdom, it is a weight. Put it down. Behavior number 7, jealousy and sabotage, disguised as concern. Are you sure that's a good idea? I just don't want to see you get hurt. You always think everything is going to work out for you. Sometimes the people who should celebrate your wins are the first ones to dim your light, and they dress their sabotage in the language of worry, in the language of experience, in the language of love. This is one of the most disorienting forms of toxicity because it confuses you. If someone openly attacked your dreams, you could defend yourself. But when the attack comes wearing concern's face, it slips past your defenses. The Stoics had a concept called the logos, the inner rational spark that guides us toward our highest purpose. And Marcus Aurelius wrote repeatedly about the importance of protecting the direction of your will. Nothing external should be permitted to redirect the compass of your soul. Zen frames this differently, but arrives in the same place. There is a teaching: the tree that bends in the storm does not need the other tree's approval to grow tall. Your growth does not require consensus. It does not require a committee's blessing. When someone in your family consistently dampens your ambition, questions your capability, or subtly pulls you back toward mediocrity, ask yourself this difficult question. Is this coming from wisdom or from their own unexamined wounds? Both possibilities deserve compassion, but only one of them deserves your obedience, and neither of them gets to decide the ceiling of your life. Behavior number 8, making your peace their hostage. This is the final behavior, and it is the one that ties all others together. This is the dynamic where your mental health, your joy, your healing, your growth becomes something that certain family members feel entitled to control, where your peace is only acceptable to them if it looks the way they want it to look, where your setting boundaries becomes their wound, where your healing becomes their accusation, where your silence becomes their evidence that you are a bad person. Marcus Aurelius, writing in his private journal, in the Meditations, returned again and again to a single theme: the inner life is sovereign territory. No emperor, no enemy, no circumstance, and no family member has the right to rule it. The Zen tradition holds this truth in a different form. There is a famous koan, a Zen riddle, that asks, "What is your face before your parents were born?" It is a question pointing towards something profound. Beneath the roles, beneath the family stories, beneath the expectations and the wounds passed down through generations, there is a self that belongs to no one but you. That self does not need to be explained. It does not need to be defended. It does not need permission. It simply needs to be protected. And the most radical, most loving, most profoundly spiritual act you may ever perform is to take responsibility for that protection yourself. So we've walked through 8 behaviors today: manipulation, cruelty disguised as honesty, weaponized vulnerability, conditional love, boundary violations, guilt as control, jealousy dressed as concern, and holding your peace hostage. If you recognized yourself in any of these, if even one of these descriptions caused something to shift in your chest, then this video found you at the right moment. Here is the Zen truth I want to leave you with today. You cannot change another person's behavior. You can only change your relationship to it. And here is the Stoic truth to carry alongside it. The wise person does not waste their finite energy trying to rearrange the external world. They build instead a fortress so beautiful and so strong within themselves that no external storm can reach what matters most. You are allowed to love people and maintain your peace. You are allowed to care for people and protect your own well-being. You are allowed to remain in relationships and refuse certain behaviors within them. These are not contradictions. These are the marks of a person who has finally understood what love actually looks like when it begins at home, inside your own heart. If this video spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it.